Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Meepless and this is Literally Graphic. And today I'm going to be taking part in the longest book tag, where I check into every year from 2010 to 2019 and talk about the longest book I read in each year. As you might guess, most of these books are books without pictures, so we shall see what I picked to visually represent these things, but I wanted to participate, damn it. Lol. But with no further ado, let's talk about 2010. Where apparently the longest book I read was Blankets by Craig Thompson, clocking in at 592 pages. Not particularly long in the grand scheme of things, but it is a graphic novel, a coming-of-age young adult story. I rated it only 2 stars, but I've kind of meant to read it again ever since. Negative reviews of his later and also very long graphic novel Habibi is actually what introduced me to the idea of Orientalism. Yay! Moving forward to 2011, my longest book read that year was apparently With the Light, Raising an Autistic Child by Kiko Tobe. A quintessential parent of autistic person POV, it definitely came across as pretty didactic, so I did rate it 2 stars. I had yet to meet anyone who identified as autistic at that time, and it does last a bit in my interest just because of the difference between experiences in North America and Japan. Definitely a slog though. Jumping to a total classic, in 2012 the longest book I read, or listened to really, was Lord of the Rings. My probably unpopular opinion is that I generally find Rob Inglis's voice a total bore that had generally put me to sleep up until this point. Somehow I managed to listen to this during my daily commute at that time without crashing the car, and rated it 3 stars. In 2013 and 2014, the longest books I read were Book 2 and 3 of A Song of Ice and Fire, A Clash of Kings, and A Storm of Swords. After rating the first book 1 star, I'm kind of surprised I continued, but it was interesting follow-up to my Lord of the Rings listen through. Plus, I think I discovered how to play audiobooks at double speed. I rated both of these books 3 stars. 2015 was apparently peak I'm going to read literary novels for me, with The Golden Notebook by Doris Lessing ringing in as the longest title I listened to. This was part of the time in life where I could just listen to radio or audiobook all day through work, so it wasn't that hard. Found the change of POV to be a bit hard to follow, but overall enjoyed it and rated it 4 stars. Weighing in at 635 pages, I've tried to recall the plot points of American Gods since 2016. I haven't really been able to. Not sure what that says about me or the book. I had no success trying to get into the TV show, but I rated the book 4 stars at the time. In 2017, my longest book apparently dipped down to 504 pages with Native Son by Richard Wright, a book equally interesting in and of itself, but also intriguing to read other people's reactions to. I apparently rated it 5 stars at the time. In 2018, a top-notch 5-star book was the longest read for that year, namely People's History of the United States by Howard Zinn. I still recommend to almost anyone, which is a rare feat in my life these days. Of course, finishing up with 2019, we end this video with the most boring longest read so far, namely Introducing the New Testament, a historical, literary, and theological survey, which was so mainstream and by the book as to put me to sleep. A particularly disappointing read in comparison to the previous year's Old Testament textbook which had much more radical politics. But such is life. Bye y'all, keep reading and resist white supremacy. And as always, Literally Graphic is recorded on the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation and Anishinaabe people, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Huron-Wendat Nation. I live here because of British colonization, indigenous genocide, and more geographically specific, Treaty 13. Also known as the Toronto Purchase, which was finalized in 1805 between representatives of the Crown and certain Mississauga peoples. This treaty was a lie and has since been broken many times over. Saying so reflects only my own small steps towards knowing the truth and does nothing for reconciliation.